Hi Taurus, welcome to your July 2019 General Tarot reading. It's Raina here, and I'm just shuffling the cards. Wow, we're getting all these minor arcana cards. Okay. So the heart of the matter is the Page of Pentacles. And interestingly enough, Taurus, you are Pentacles. So Pentacles is the suit of Earth, okay? And Earth energy, so we're talking about the three Earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. This could be any new relationship, or, you know, yes, romantic, but other types of relationships. Even if you have a child who was recently born who's an earth sign, you know. And so that can connect to relationships of the earth energy. Pages can be messages, so messages about employment. Pentacles can relate to money, to the job, to your health, you know, the body itself, to sex, because that's part of the body. All of these things. Although if it's something that's a fling, I tend to think of fire signs, which are wands. Okay? So Page of Pentacles can be a message of a practical nature, maybe that you've been waiting for, this communication. Something to say, we are having a Mercury retrograde in the month of July, from July 7th, I believe, until the 31st. So messages may get delayed that you've been waiting for. So there are a couple of cards here that are of the Pentacles variety. Okay. You may be you may have recently started a new job. Pages can be that new, the time of doing something in a new way, you know. In the past position, we have the Knight of Swords. If this is a person that you were dealing with, it's combination of, it's like an air sign that also has fire in them, and it's supposed to be somebody who is blunt, who is, you know, outspoken, maybe a little bit insensitive. This may be a lawyer. So maybe you're waiting to hear about some kind of outcome that has to do with an inheritance, for instance, because Jupiter is retrograding in the 8th house for Taurus. And I know this because I have Taurus rising, and I'm dealing with this myself. And, you know, Jupiter retrograding can mean that, you know, Jupiter can be money. So it could be that something has been delayed. And because Mercury is also going to retrograde in July, all of this could somehow conspire to delay something that you've been waiting on that has to do with a material nature. And then the higher message is the Seven of Pentacles, which is the card, the Farmer's card. I don't know if it corresponds to a certain earth sign, but I would think of Taurus because you are the farmer. And also, you're patient. And this is a card that requires patience. It's like, maybe you started something on the material level, like either a new job or a new business, and you're kind of like, is this ever going to turn a profit? And maybe you have to wait. Maybe you've been a little bit hasty for you because, yeah, I mean, Taurus is patient, but you are a combination of influences, and you may have Mars and Aries, for instance, and then you might be like really, you know, impatient about things that you know, are ambitious about. So the Seven of Pentacles is like you have to be able to be willing to see if something will take, you know. And it's called the Farmer's card because you might have put in that effort, the planting, if you will. And now you're kind of like, okay, is this thing going to actually take off? Be this, be that. And it's like, okay. And it is what it is. You know, I feel like when you least expect it, this can be when you see something happen. I've mentioned this before. I don't know if I've mentioned it to your sign particularly, but it's worth mentioning again. I just recently celebrated 4 years on YouTube, and I'll never forget when I first started. I had no idea what to expect, obviously, you know. And I'd never had I had my own business. I'd never been on YouTube. I had no idea like what was going to happen. I was just winging it. And I was putting out videos, and I remember like thinking, God, I'm getting hundreds of views and thousands of views, and I wasn't getting a client. And I was like, what's going on here? You know, because when you fantasize about doing something, I mean, I think it's human nature to kind of like be overly optimistic. But especially when you think about all the people that are watching you, all the potential clients or potential business that you're going to have. And I was patient, and I remember watching a tarot reader, and she was talking about her own life, and she said, you know, it took me a month before I got my first client on YouTube, you know. And I thought, oh, thank God. Okay, it takes a month. Okay. And then a month went by, and I still didn't get a client. And I'm like really starting to freak out. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And then, you know, I was trying to be patient because I'm Taurus rising. And then I remember it was over 2 months. It had just been over 2 months. And I was just like, I said, I'm not going to put in much more time, because like the Seven of Pentacles, that sense of putting in the energy, it's like if you don't see any results from it, it's very hard to feel motivated. I know a lot of people think that people on YouTube who are doing this kind of thing, they should have a very purist, you know, they have a purist attitude, and that we're supposed to be purist about this and do it for the right reasons, which is to help other people. And, you know, I think a lot of us, that's exactly what we're all about. But if we're doing it, if this isn't just a hobby or a side thing for us, we require it to pay our bills. And it just is what it is, you know. So I was just getting ready to throw in the towel, and I remember I clicked on my email and I saw you have an order, or, you know, I saw that first order, and I burst out crying because I was really ready to just call it quits. And the reason I'm telling you this is because you may be in a similar position where you can't understand why it's not happening for you yet. And you have been patient, and you have been waiting. And by the way, it's not to say with the Seven of Pentacles that you should just, you know, carry on indefinitely. You know, when you put in the effort, you want to see something come back to you. This is just, you know, part of what makes us, that energy. That's what money is currency. So it's an exchange of energy, and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing like, you know, greedy about wanting to be compensated for your energy when we live in a world that requires that. Taurus, where Taurus is, you know, gets a bit off track, is when you are excessively in need of that, and when you begin to like say, I'm not going to help anybody unless they give me money. Because I think that we all have to be willing to donate our services sometimes, and also be willing to, I mean, that's just how I see it, that we have to be willing to see that everyone is at a different level financially, and be like aware of that if a certain situation comes up, but by the same token, not allow yourself to get taken advantage of. And in some cases, there may be some of that going on with the Seven of Pentacles. If you offer a service, Taurus, and you're like telling your friends about it, and they expect to get freebies, and they're not willing to at least, give you something, they may be taking advantage of the fact that they're your friend. And, if you need to pay your bills, you need to pay your bills. So it's not one thing over the other. The Seven of Pentacles is simply assessing the situation. What crosses you is the Five of Swords. Perhaps, again, if you have started a new relationship with somebody, you may be not sure if this person and you are going to be a permanent item. Maybe you have recently gotten divorced, or, because I'm with the Knight of Swords, or you left an air sign like a Libra, Aquarius, that's a big one for you, or a Gemini. And maybe they're talking a lot of crap about you. Maybe they're a narcissist, and they're going to try to get back into your good graces when they see you've moved on. That's when they tend to come back. And you may be confused because maybe they left you, and you might be tempted to go back with them because you think, oh, they like me. They really, really like me. Well, that it might not be that at all. I mean, nothing against you, but they might be playing games, head games. Now, everybody break into Foreigner. See, you can probably guess just about how old I am since I'm referencing, a Foreigner song. Okay, so yeah, the Five of Swords is about somebody maybe talking smack about you behind your back. Maybe they're acting like they're your best friend in front of your face. So if you've started a new job, maybe you're dealing with people that are threatened by you. Maybe you're very good. I think a lot of Taurus people are great workers. So there might be somebody on the job who's not really happy. I don't want to make you paranoid, but I would say if this is true, you already kind of sort of know it. It's not somebody randomly. But just definitely watch who you talk to. Quite frankly, if you're in a workplace with other people, it's not really a good idea to gossip, because that's what the Five of Swords can be about. It's really not a good thing to do anyway, even listening to gossip, because, sometimes people think in a rather twisted way, oh, wow, this person really, is taking me into their inner sanctum and telling me all the latest gossip about the boss and the assistant manager and all this stuff. And, when somebody does that, they might do that to you as well when you're not looking. So don't be so flattered about, that kind of sketchy behavior. The advice is represented by the Tower, and this is about, let the chips fall where they may. Don't be afraid of the eclipses, okay? Where are they going to fall for Taurus? They're going to fall in that, it's so funny because they're going to fall in that communication sector. The solar eclipse is falling in your third house of the internet and other communication. This can be really good for, if you're somebody who, let's say you have a YouTube channel or a blog, or maybe even like an ebook or something like that that has been kind of like stalling. Maybe it'll go viral for some reason. I mean, it could be something that dramatic. Maybe you fall in love with somebody at first sight, but it's online. It could be something like that. As advice, I would say, burn the past. Don't allow yourself to be held back, because you know the lunar eclipse is occurring in your ninth house. This is the higher mind, and this could be like a eureka moment for Taurus, of a spiritual nature, where you are really able to see yourself. I mean, you're able to understand things at a deeper level. Maybe this is a spiritual upgrade for you in some way, where you realize that perhaps you have been playing it safe, allowing material matters to dominate, and maybe being fear-based in some way. Because the ninth house is the God house, and it's all about expansion of the mental variety of the physical, in terms of geography, and maybe you realize that you've been kind of keeping yourself under wraps, and you need to kind of like just be willing to broadcast who you are to the world. And especially during this year when the North Node is transiting that third house, it's all about, your communication, like speaking your truth, and just telling people who you are, and just if you have a book in you, some type of communication. If you want to start a YouTube channel, do it. Don't procrastinate, but be mindful that we have retrogrades for most of the month. But the eclipses are going to be active beyond July, so don't worry about that. And then the outcome is the Knight of Cups. This could be an offer that is presented to you. I was thinking of like somebody goes, maybe you register on an online dating site, and all of a sudden you get like 10 people, and they're all like great possibilities. But you may be just having like a real creative streak within you. Who knows? Taurus, and I'm not even thinking of anything specifically about the astrology. That was just something I felt like I should say to you. Knight of Cups could be a romantic connection with somebody. Yeah, and the Tower could be love at first sight. I said love on the internet, but it could be just in your day-to-day life. With the Page of Pentacles, I will say that if you've been waiting to hear back from a company, you might hear back and get an offer. So perhaps you've been waiting. It might come at the end of July or even into August. So sit tight, but pray and get your feet moving. Do what you can where you are. And I think that you will see success. And also, too, I just want to remind you is that Uranus is now in your sign. So Tower card to me is like Uranian, where it's like things can happen at any time. Lightning can strike at any time. And so don't be afraid of trying new things. You never know what you will find. Somebody once said to me, that they always go down a different street. Well, I told you I have Taurus rising, so I like to go down. I just, when you have Taurus energy, you tend to like your little routines and your little habits, okay? But if you can free yourself from that comfort zone, I think Uranus in your sign will do that for you. And the Tower card, it's like life will provoke these change situations for you, whether you like it or not. go with the flow, because you never know what's going to happen. This could be the best thing that ever happened for you. So in any case, I hope that you enjoyed this, and if you'd like a private reading, the link is below. Hey, I know Taurus people like a good sale, right? Until July 2nd, all my readings are 17% off. The information is below the video on all of that, the coupon code and all that. I hope you have a great month. Take care. Bye.